Still got a couple of folks signing in, so we just want to give them enough time, and then we'll get going. But I want to thank you for taking some time out of your day and spending it with us. And hopefully I'll make it fruitful. Hopefully you get something out of this. And we'll be with you in about 1.5 minutes. So just grab that last cup of coffee and we'll get going. All right, we're going to get this show on the road. First of all, my name is Roy Bertolotto, and I'm the Eastern Sales Director for ZV. And also on the webinar with us is Christine, who's the Director of our marketing effort at ZV. Say hello, Christine.
Good afternoon, everybody.
And Christine's going to help us with the webinar. A few points of order. This should take about 45 minutes to go through it. Throughout the webinar, there will be surveys. We're going to pick your brains and try to find out what we need to be doing better or next, or how you're going to use our product. So there's 4 surveys that will come up throughout the webinar. It'll take you a half a minute or so to answer the question, and then we'll move on. So without further ado, I'm going to move on. First of all, let's talk a little bit about who we are. Who is ZV? The company was founded about 8 years ago, and we found a need for a cost-effective digital modulation solution. 12, 13 years ago, when the world went digital, the first digital modulators were upwards of $20,000 for one channel. And we found technology and a chipset and other things that allowed us to enter the market with a really fantastic digital modulator for about 1/10 of that price. And over the years, we've expanded the product line, we've created better reliability, better performance, and we've dropped the price per channel dramatically. At this point in time, the cost for a channel of digital modulation is well under $1,000. We're a market leader in HD video distribution. Just about every NFL stadium, ballpark is using ZV in some way or another. They might be using it for digital signage. They might be using it in large scale for all of the video that's going on within the facility. Sports bars and restaurants is still about 40% of our business. Twin Peaks, Hooters, Buffalo Wild Wings, Bombshells, you name it. They're using ZV digital modulators to send signal to all those TVs you see in these sports bars. Healthcare facilities. They have many needs for video distribution. It could be just simply entertainment. It could be for patient information, all different types of things that are used in the healthcare facilities. And then certainly senior student housing, MDU, multiple dwelling units, are using a ZV digital modulation to send signal to all of the rooms and all of the televisions that might be there. Besides that, you have RV parks, prisons, believe it or not, are a real good market. Any place where there's more than, let's say, a dozen television sets and you need to send signal, ZV should be considered as a solution. Currently, we have well over 1 million displays powered by ZV worldwide. We have an office in Denver, office in London, and our main office is just outside of Boston. We sell product all over the world with the exception of Japan and Brazil. They're on a different system, and we just haven't got there yet. We will be designing product for those markets, but right now we're in Russia, the Middle East, Africa, Europe, lots of South America, certainly Mexico, North America, Canada, New Zealand, Australia, we're everywhere. We're a cost-effective, extremely reliable solution, and we use standard-based components. We're not trying to reinvent the wheel. We're not trying to develop technology and devices that are pushing the envelope. We want the stuff to work. We want it to be easy to install, and we want you to make a couple of bucks when you're doing an installation. Why did we develop the HDbridge3000? Those of you that are on this call that have used our 2000 product in the past, that product came out about 4 years ago. And before we developed that product, we actually sat down with folks like you. We sat down with integrators, and we asked them, what do you want? What do you want this product to do? And they gave us a list of about 25 things, and we got around to about 23 of them. There were a couple of things that they wanted that we weren't able to accomplish in the 2000 product, and we have accomplished that in the 3000 series. And one of those things was the cost per channel. They wanted a reduced cost per channel. Well, when you're building a standalone unit that has 4 channels of modulation in one chassis, every time you buy 4 channels, you're paying for that chassis, the power supply, the front panel, the on-off switch, the box that we ship it in, everything else, every time you buy 4 channels. By going with a Bridge 3000, which is a chassis and a card-based system, we reduce that cost dramatically per channel. Space constraints. The product we currently, the 2000 product that we currently sell, is 4 channels for 1 RU. So it uses up quite a bit of space and a very large head-end unit and used in a hospital or an assisted living facility, a college dormitory or whatnot. So we wanted it to be smaller. We wanted to reduce truck rolls. Now, although the 2000 product is extremely reliable, so truck rolls are probably not an issue, we wanted to reduce them even further. We wanted to make the product even more remotely managed. And we're going to talk a bit about that in a minute. And we also wanted to give you a clear path to the future. This stuff is moving really fast. I'm telling you, 2 years ago, you rarely heard about video over IP. All of a sudden, it's just about everything you hear is video over IP. And certainly 4K is just roaring into our marketplace. We want the product to be capable of these technologies as they become available, and future technologies that we don't even know about yet. So these are the 4 things that we tried to do, and we were successful at with the Bridge 3000. So first of all, if you take a look here, it's a high-density video distribution system, and that means it's high channel count. This is not the device you would use in a beauty parlor to send 1 channel of digital signage, or in a church where they might have 1 or 2 cameras that they want to move to other parts of the facility. This is a device that's being used in high channel count. 12 or more channels is usually the break point. But if you wanted to send 135 channels in a hospital, this is the product that would do it. It's completely customizable. And that means that you can send 480, 720, 1080, RF, and IP from the same device. Once again, affordable. That whole story about getting the cost per channel down. Redundant hot swappable components for 0 downtime. The power supplies and the boards themselves are hot swappable, which means you do not have to shut the system down to change out one of these components should something fail. But more importantly, they can be swapped out by anybody. A facility manager, a janitor, an IT person on site at a school or a college, anybody can swap out these components. So if there was an issue, you could just direct them to do it without having to send one of your technicians, if that was an option. And it's a launch pad, once again, for the future. H.264, MPEG-4, 4K, who knows what else is coming down the pike. We've got you covered for the future. So first of all, we're going to do a poll question, Christine, if you can put that up for the folks. So this is asking you, your customers will be purchasing 4K video distribution capability within the next 3 months, 3 to 6 months, 6 to 12 months, 12 to 18 months, longer than 18 months. And we just need you to answer these questions the best you can. Hey, Christine, my board just says attendees still on hold, start broadcast. What's that all about?
I don't think anyone's on hold. Everybody's in attendance.
I'm gonna click not now. Hopefully we don't lose everything. I don't know what that was all about. Yeah, I see folks are voting, so it appears that everybody's in good shape here. Okay, so what do we got? No, it looks like 4K at this point in time is a little bit in the future. 40% is longer than 18 months. 6 to 12 months, 0%. Nobody's going to do it 6 to 12 months from now. We've got a few folks doing it in 3 months, 3 to 6 months. This is good to know. This helps us to plan for the future. We have lots of 4K product currently available with our Zyper 4K, which we won't be discussing in this webinar, but we can talk to you about that at any point in time. And we also have a 4K over coax coming down the line. This is going to be a really great product because it's going to allow you to go into a sports bar or health club or any other facility where they want 4K, but they've only got a coax infrastructure. Without having to rewire the building, you're going to be able to send 4K. So this is great. This is great to know, and thank you for that. And we will return now back to the previously scheduled program. Going to switch us back, Christine. All right, got a little bit of latency here. Hang on. As you can see here with this picture of the chassis, this is actually the chassis with the shell removed, so it gives you an idea of what's going on. Over on the right-hand side of the picture are the two power supplies, and they're redundant. It operates on one power supply, but if that power supply should fail, it will automatically cycle to the other power supply and let you know that the first power supply has gone down. These power supplies are extremely easy to replace. You simply pull one out, slide another one in. If you had a facility 300-400 miles away from where you normally operate and you've installed a head end, you could simply send them a power supply and have them replace it. But there's no downtime. The system never comes down. It's always going to stay up because it's redundant and it's hot swappable. The boards themselves, or the cards, or the blades, depending on who you talk to, what they call them, they're also hot swappable. They can be pulled out and replaced. But here's the really great feature. They automatically program themselves. So if you had a board go bad and you wanted to send one to the facility manager and have him replace it, he simply pulls out the bad board and slides in a new one, and it automatically programs itself exactly the way the defective board was operating. This is a great feature. This really stops lots of truck rolls. ZV products are guaranteed for 5 years, so there's no cost for the first 5 years for these boards if they fail. But it's a shame that you would have to ship a truck or find somebody to do this replacement when there's already somebody on site that could do it. So this is one of the ways that we're stopping the truck rolls, as we talked about before. The unit also has 4 hot swappable fans on the back. It only requires 2 to operate. But if one of the fans should fail, it again can be removed and replaced without shutting the system down. So we think you got you covered as far as downtime is concerned with this device and really lessening the amount of truck rolls. The cards themselves are available in the HD cards are available in 720p and 1080, and they're also available where they can simultaneously output IP. So you can have a situation like we recently had in a school system in Ohio where they had an existing school which was wired with coax, and they had an addition that they put on the school which was wired with cat wire. So they needed a solution that could send signal over the coax and over the Cat 5, as it turned out. And this was a perfect solution. These boards, if they're ordered with IP capability, they will simultaneously output IP along with QAM. A perfect solution where you've got coax and IP requirements. The 3000 cards, hang on one second, are also available in SD. This is a component card, 480 SD. There are 6 channels per card, where in the HD cards there were 2 channels per card. 6 channels per card, 480i output. Now the interesting thing about our SD cards is the way it operates if you feed it with a digital signal. If you use like a DirecTV H25 or a Dish Networks satellite receiver or a cable box that's outputting a digital HD signal, we take that signal and we ship it 16:9 with resolution that rivals 720. On a television 42 inches or less, I challenge you to see the difference between our SD feed and our 720 feed. It's really that good. The SD card also offers emergency alert system, which we're going to talk about a little bit in a few seconds. So we got poll question number 2, Christine, if we can get that up, let the folks answer that one. Let's talk about IP for a minute. How important to your customers is having simultaneous IP video delivery built into the HD3000? If you could just quickly throw some answers up on that one. Is it very important? Is it important? Neutral? Not important? And not at all important? I'm not quite sure what not important and not at all important, but I guess there is a difference. But IP, I'll tell you, in the last 6 to 8 months, every other phone call I receive starts out with questions about IP. I've never seen anything move so fast as IP video. Let's see where we are. Here's your answers. Neutral, 40%. And then 40% of you said it's important or very important. I agree. I think video over IP is just going to explode over the next few months. I think you're going to see more and more TVs with built-in IP capability. You're going to have more and more end users requesting IP. Certainly any greenfield new construction projects are being wired with cat wire, which makes video over IP just makes all the sense in the world. All right, thank you for that. Sorry for the little bit of latency, but when we come out of that survey question and we go back into the webinar, it takes a couple of seconds. Let's talk about our Maestro management platform. Those of you that have used this platform, this configuration device on the ZV2000 and ZV Pro products probably know how great it is. This is really a feather in the cap of our engineering staff here at ZV. Back on our first products, the ZV170, ZV180, ZV250 Pro, when you wanted to configure those products, you had to go to our website, download a program, and then as you were out on site, hopefully you had the right program to configure the products that you had in the headend. It was a nightmare at times. So we did away with all of that when we introduced the 2000 product and we developed Maestro. Back in the day, if you were doing a 48-channel headend, it could take you a week to program that thing. And God forbid you have a mistake and try to find it. It was just very, very difficult. With our new Maestro system, I have dealers that are programming 48-channel headends in 17 minutes. That's the record so far. It's very, very easy to use, and the best part about it is it can be accessed locally or remotely. So what that means is that if you have a situation where you've got a headend 300 miles away and you need to look at it or manage it or do something with it, you can easily access it by VPNing into the headend, which is really a great feature. It also allows you to configure one device at a time or configure an entire headend with just a couple of clicks of a button. So once again, those of you that have used Maestro, I'm sure you appreciate what a great configuration tool it is. And those that haven't, when you do get a chance, you're going to love it. It's a great feature. Let's talk about some of these free features, as I call them. About a year ago, we started introducing these features. The first one is ZV Show. All of the HD product that ZV sells has a built-in digital signage channel. So each of the 2-channel cards that plug into the chassis have a digital signage channel. So therefore, if you have a 24-channel headend, that would be 12 cards, you'd have 24 channels of what we call broadcast, and you'd have 12 digital signage channels. And these digital signage channels can be used for anything. They can be used for small videos, they can be used for PowerPoint presentations, they can be used for digital signage, they can be used for a channel lineup, a schedule, just about anything. In the assisted living field, they're using them for scheduling. Every morning somebody comes in and they type up the schedule, what time is breakfast, when is church service, what time is the bingo game, whatever it might be. College dormitories are using them for information. What time is the pep rally, when's the football game, that type of thing. So each 2-channel card has a ZV Show channel. It's it's an excellent selling feature too, by the way. In the sports bar business, if you're approaching a proprietor of a sports bar and he's looking for 12 channels, therefore he's going to have 6 cards, he's going to have 6 HD show channels, ZV show channels, and they love that. They can post what specials are going on and what's happening on Tuesday night, and we've got a football game on Saturday afternoon, or whatever they want to put up on their televisions within their facility. It's a great feature, and it's a great closing tool when you're out on a sale. ZV-EAS, Emergency Alert System. There are 2 ways to do emergency alert. And by the way, it's not required by law today, but there's an awful lot of conversation that it will be required in multiple dwelling units and any place with more than about 50 people assembled in the future. So it's something to be aware of. We offer a national EAS service through a company called Monroe. Monroe will supply a box and an antenna, and it all works through our ZV system, through Maestro. And should something nationally happen, like a bad weather or something, it automatically takes over all of the televisions in the facility and broadcasts the service. Now, this service has an expense involved with it when you buy the box, plus a monthly expense. We also offer the ZV-EAS, which is our own emergency alert service. This is a free service. There's no monthly charge. It's local. It will only affect the TVs that are hooked up to the ZV equipment, obviously. But it's a great feature. College campuses, churches, schools, they're all requesting some type of emergency alert. This way here you have 2 choices, a national EAS service and the local ZV EAS. And lastly, set-top box management. This is the ability to remotely manage the entire headend. Now, not only can you manage the ZV part of the headend, but if you're using DirecTV H25 satellite receivers, Maestro can also manage those satellite receivers. So where would you use this? A perfect example is a Saturday night, you get a phone call from one of your projects that they just lost a channel. It could be an assisted living facility and they just lost the Lawrence Welk show. You can open your laptop, VPN into the headend, and you can move a channel that's not being used and replace it with the Lawrence Welk channel and get them back up and running in minutes. In fact, many of my dealers, they build what they call idler channels. So if they're building a 48-channel headend, they will build a 50-channel headend, and they'll have 2 ZV channels and 2 H25 satellite receivers idling. They're just sitting there doing nothing. If they have a problem, they reassign the channel to the satellite receiver and reassign the output to that idling ZV channel, and they're back up and running in moments. It's a fantastic feature, and it really, really pleases everybody, the integrator, the facility owner, and the people watching television. So this is a ZV set-top box management. Once again, it operates all of the Maestro ZV product through Maestro and the H25 satellite receivers from DirecTV. So let's talk about the efficiencies that have been gained. We've reduced truck rolls, hot swappable power supply, automatically programming boards, hot swappable redundant fans, up to 50% savings in rack space. Each of those racks can do 24 channels of HD or 72 channels of SD. It's half the size required of our 2000 product. Significantly reduces the number of power supplies. For 24 channels, you have 1 power supply, or 72 channels of SD. This reduces power consumption, and it lowers overall heat signature. So if you've got a situation where you've got a real compact equipment room or a closet, and this stuff is all jammed in there with the IT product and the telephone equipment and the alarm equipment, we're not going to be generating the bulk of the heat. We run extremely cool, and because we're using less power supplies, which is where the most of the heat is generated, our system will run cooler than the 2000 product would. So we're on to poll question number 3. So if you look at the features below, pick the 3 that you feel will be most important to your customers. Is it because we save space? Is it because there's more flexibility in the platform? You can do 480, 720, 1080 off the same platform and IP. Redundant power supplies, less downtime, ability to future-proof, the ability to use it with 4K product or H.264, MPEG-4 in the future? Or is it features like EAS, set-top box management, and ZV Show? I'm always interested in the answers to these questions because they're right down where we're operating. Interesting. Yes, future-proof and the features are the two that win this one. And I have to agree, future-proofing the product, I think, is really important. The electronics industry moves so fast. No matter what you buy today, 3 years from now, it's obsolete or it doesn't work or it's a different world. And being able to future-proof the product, I think, is very, very important. And obviously, as a sales tool and as an option, EAS, set-top box management, ZV Show are just winners. There's no question about it. So thank you for that. Which ZV products? Once again, those of you that are familiar with our products know that now we have 3 discrete RF QAM product categories. If you're only sending 1 or 2 channels in a beauty parlor or a dentist office or something like that, you'd probably be using the ZV Pro products. Sorry. ZV Pro, as you can see there at the top, is a smaller form factor. Usually they're being used in a situation where there is not a rack or an equipment room. They're basically placed on a shelf or in a cabinet, and they're just streaming 1 or 2 channels to a number of televisions throughout the facility. 3 to 10 channels, maybe 12 channels, you'd use the ZV2000. If you're doing a sports bar and they're only sending 8 channels, 2 4-channel ZV2000s will fit the bill. And if you're doing more than that, certainly large head ends, 70, 100, 135 channels, you'd be using the 3000 product. That's what it was designed for. It was designed for high channel count installations. Let's talk about resources. Through Christine and her department, our marketing department, we have all kinds of stuff available for you. We have literature that we've printed. Some of this is real simple literature that you can use as a handout if you're doing a trade show or if you're doing a sales call. And then we also have more involved literature, which gets deeper into the specifications, into what the equipment can do, how it's used, and that type of thing. This literature is available on our website, which is zeevee.com, or you certainly can drop me an email and I can get it off to you. We also have our configuration guides are now all up on our website. So if you want to look into what's involved in configuring this device or utilizing it before you dive deep into it, you can just look that right up on our website, zeevee.com. It's all available right there. And this is the best thing we've come out with other than Maestro. This is an HDbridge3000 pricing tool. The 3000 is a relatively complicated sale. And when we first started selling it a few weeks ago, I had a couple of dealers that made some pretty good mistakes. Thank God we caught them in time. One of my dealers was speccing out a 30-some-odd channel head end, and he was only speccing 1 equipment rack, 1 equipment cabinet chassis. And these chassis are relatively expensive. So to forget a chassis could just destroy the profit in the whole sale. So we got concerned about that, and we said, let's build a pricing tool. So this tool, as you can see, over where it says number of channels, you simply input the number of channels. Next is resolution, and resolution, IP, and input are all drop-downs. So all you do is click on that box, and you select whatever resolution you want. Do you want component 1080? Do you want HDMI 1080? Do you want composite 480 or component 720, whatever it might be? In this case, we have 12 channels of component 1080. We are not looking for IP, simultaneous IP output. And we're going to use DirecTV receivers, so we're using the DirecTV DIN input. Now, your choices for input would be HDMI, it would be composite, be component, it would be DirecTV DIN. We're also sending 30 channels of composite. Once again, no IP. And it's using an SD input. And just to make it interesting, we have one channel of HDMI for digital signage play or something, and that's using an HDMI input. Now over on the cost side, we put a blue box over cost because we don't want to share dealer costs with everybody on the planet, and we don't know who's attending these webinars sometimes. But as you can see, it propagated it to the proper number of devices needed, and then it totals it up over at the end. And it also adds the proper number of chassis and the proper quantity of connecting cables. This is fabulous. This just saves so much time. And once again, send me an email, and I will send you copies of this both with dealer pricing and with MSRP, so you can share it with your customer, with the end user, but you can also see your dealer pricing for yourself. So this is a great, great tool, and it just makes setting up and selling the 3000 products so much easier. And again, kudos go to our IT folks for developing this in such short order and making such an easy device to use. So let's talk about trending opportunities. Right now, other than roads and bridges, the #1 construction projects in America are hospitals and healthcare. The aging of America. 10,000 people are turning 65 every day in America, and 100 people are turning 100 every day in America. Those are amazing numbers. And interestingly, this generation of folks that are turning 65 and wanting to leave their home and move into some type of healthcare facility or assisted living, they want the conveniences they had at home. They want high-speed internet. They want a plethora of HD television channels. So that's one opportunity for the HDB3000. The other one is senior housing. Senior housing is exactly what I just said. They're moving out of their home. They want the comfort factor of the devices and the technology that they had when they were living in their home. And that, once again, is high-speed internet and lots of TV channels. Sports bars, restaurants. If you've been into a Twin Peaks, if you've been into a Buffalo Wild Wings, if you've been into these new things called Top Golf, they're all using ZV product to send video stream to literally hundreds of TVs. In the case of Top Golf, they're sending our signal to 285 TVs in each facility. Twin Peaks has 70 to 80 televisions. Buffalo Wild Wings is the same. They need a way to move the signal, and sending it over coax with the HDB2000 is usually the preferred method. Broadcasts and studios. We came out with a new device, which unfortunately I didn't have time to talk about today. It's called the 2920i. This is a device which was developed and designed for the broadcasting industry. It has SDI input, so it's HD-SDI input, and it outputs 2 channels of QAM and 2 channels of IP. Many television stations converted to HD 10 years ago, but they've left their inside distribution of video content as analog. And most of the reason was because of cost. As I said before, 1 channel of digital modulation was $20,000. They weren't going to change that fast. We're able to offer them the new 2920i at a fraction of that price. And it has just been extremely hot. I've yet to talk to a TV station and bring up the 2920i where their eyes haven't lit up and they haven't grabbed a pen and wrote a PO. So if you have dealers or customers in that type of business, broadcast industry, studio business, you should talk to them about the 2920i. It's on our website, and once again, I can send you some information, some literature if you'd like. Just let me know. Education facilities, I talked about that briefly, where there are school systems that have existing infrastructure over coax, and now they're moving into IP. So using any of our products that output IP, which we call the I series, or if it's total IP infrastructure, it's greenfield, brand new, we have another new product called MX/MXE. Again, if you need to learn more about that, I can talk to you about it, and we're having webinars scheduled to talk about MX/MXE. It's a total IP solution without the coax side. And lastly, fitness centers. Fitness centers are using our HDB2312, which is our SD modulator. They're using this because they've got little small 8-inch, 10-inch screens on these workout machines. No real need for 720 or 1080 resolution. Our 480 resolution is excellent. And it allows them to maintain their cable situation. What's happened in the cable industry is a few years ago, you used to take a piece of cable from the wall, plug it into a TV, and you get 40 or 50 what we used to call organic channels. Well, that's all gone away. The cable industry's got a problem with bandwidth. So they've taken those organic channels, they've compressed them, and they've pushed them up in the spectrum, and now every TV needs a little set-top box with a remote control. If you have Comcast or Cable One or Charter Cable or any of the cable companies, you're probably already experiencing this. Obviously, you can't have a little remote control and a set-top box on a workout machine. It doesn't work. So what the cable companies are doing is they're hiring folks like you to go back in, put 12 or 24 cable boxes in a closet with a couple of 2312 modulators, which is a 12-channel SD modulator, and they're sending those organic channels again, just like they used to have before they compressed everything and moved everything around. So it's a great opportunity. It's a quick down and dirty install, very clean, very easy, and it's profitable. So if you've got the opportunity to talk to fitness centers, health clubs, you might want to take it up and see if they can use your services. So why ZV? We're engineered for ease of video distribution. We just make it easy. Coax, IP, we got you covered. It's a feature-rich product line using Maestro software for ease of setup, ZV Show EAS set-top box control, which are great add-ons, great sales closing tools, and they're great features for the end user. Any source over any network to unlimited displays. If you've got coax, if you've got Cat5, Cat6, Cat6A, you've got fiber, we've got products that can send video. There's no limit to the number of displays. 5 displays, 500, 5,000, it doesn't matter. And there's no limit to the length of runs. With our new Zyper 4K over fiber, we can run 36 miles with no latency and great 4K video quality. Obviously, with coax product, with proper engineering, you can run it miles. The cable industry has been doing it for years. Everything is manufactured in the Granite State, New Hampshire. We build everything right here in the United States, and it's all covered by a 5-year warranty. So we've got you covered on all of these points of why ZV. Poll question number 4, and we're getting near the end here. We're almost done. And here we go. What would you like us to do next? What webinar would you like next? Video over IP? How to switch HD video over an IP network? Switching 4K video over an IP network? More Maestro and Maestro Z training? And how do I sell against matrix switches and HDbridge3000? So we want to know what you want us to develop next for webinars. Where does your interest lie? Wow. I don't think Las Vegas would have figured that one out. Look at that. Exactly 20% on all of them. Well, Christine, I guess we got our work cut out for us. I guess we need 5 new webinars. I will tell you the last one, how do I sell against matrix switching and HDbridge3000? This was a really important conversation. It is something we will be developing a webinar on. And the reason being is that up until now, the industry has been using its own system called HDbridge3000 for most of what we do in delivering video. And it didn't make a lot of sense to me when they started with this a few years ago. I always said, why aren't we using IP? I mean, video is digital. It's just a whole bunch of ones and zeros. It's a heck of a lot of them, but it's just ones and zeros. And as the cost of real fast 10 gig and 1 gig switches comes crashing down, why aren't we using that technology to send video? And sure enough, the world heard us, and here we go. Now we're sending just about all video in the next year or two is going to be sent over IP. HDbridge3000 can't keep up. It can't do 2.0. It can't do UHD without a lot of compression. And if you're talking 4K and you want the world's best resolution, why are you going to compress it? This doesn't make sense. Switching 4K video over an IP network is also another topic that comes up an awful lot. Again, 4K is a lot of data, there's no question about it, but there is a way to make it work. And we have that technology. We've been selling it in this country since January. We've been selling it in Europe since last January. It's called our Zyper 4K. It's on our website, but if you need more information, we certainly can help you out with that. So that's pretty interesting that it was all 20%. I've never seen that before in a survey, but there you have it. And we wait for our little latency here, and here we go. So who are we? Where are we? How do you get in touch with us? That's me, Roy. I'm the Director of Eastern Sales. Any state east of the Mississippi, I'm your guy. That's my cell phone number. I answer that phone 24/7. The only time I don't answer it is when I'm doing a webinar, or if I'm on an airplane, or if I'm doing training. My email is the easiest in the world, roy@zv.com. Use me as a resource. I love talking to end users. If you want me to be involved, either in person or over the phone or with a webinar to an end user to explain this technology to them, I'm glad to do it. Love to do it, actually. Paul is our Western Director of Sales. He's out of our Denver office, and Paul's email is one letter harder than mine. And also, that's his mobile number. And like me, he basically has no life. He answers the phone. And if you can't reach either of us, George Conefell is our inside guy. And George is one of those people that kind of he's like the glue, kind of holds the whole thing together. He knows everything. And if you can't reach Paul or you can't reach me, call George. And George can usually make it happen. He knows how to make the magic. So that's his email address, and that's his phone number right there. We also have a tremendous technical support team, and I'm not just saying that because it's our technical support team. I hear that at least twice a week or more from dealers that have used them. Melanie and her crew are available from 9 o'clock in the morning till 8 o'clock at night, and even after hours if it's an emergency, and they can be reached at 877-493-3833, 877-493-3833, or support@zeevee.com. I find when I need to reach them, support@zv.com is a little quicker. They'll get right back to you. If you call the number, they'll most likely answer the phone, but a lot of times they're on the phone, so they'll have to get back to you either way. But they're a fantastic support, pre-sale, during the installation, after the installation. If you've got a service problem, use our support team. They're fantastic. And then you've got Christine in our marketing department. If you need literature, if you need any type of collateral to run an ad or to do something, our marketing department is more than capable of helping you out, whatever you need. So that's what I've got. Let's see if we've got some questions, Christine. One question here. It talks about future-proofing, and it's talking about MPEG-4. Yes, good question. Thanks. That's from John. Right now, we're simultaneously outputting MPEG-2. MPEG-2 uses quite a bit of bandwidth, so you got to be careful. You got to be careful of what else is living on the bandwidth, what else is using the bandwidth, I should say, what the infrastructure looks like. If you're going to try to do a rather robust headend using MPEG-2. In a few weeks, we're going to be offering MPEG-4. MPEG-4 doesn't use anywhere near the bandwidth, and you could easily do a very high channel count headend using a simple 1 gig switch using MPEG-4 technology. So yes, right now it's MPEG-2. In a few weeks, it will be MPEG-4 H.264, and it'll be a lot easier to integrate that on an existing infrastructure. There's a question about the boards. Are they all automatic programming? Yes, all the boards automatic program, the SD boards and the HD boards, regardless of input. If you had the board set up as a VGA board instead of component, and it was set for 720 as its highest resolution, you plug another board in, and that's what it's going to do. It's going to go, and whatever channel, obviously, you had it broadcasting on, it's going to go right to that configuration. Makes it very, very easy. Another question from Dean. I see you have HDMI input. Is it still encrypted? Yes, it is. Uh, Here's the situation with HDMI. HDMI requires encryption. When you're sending an HDMI signal, at the other end, it has to be received with some type of encryption to be legal, to protect the content. When you're using a ZV product, in coax especially, we're dropping the flag. We're taking the HDMI signal and we're converting it to clear QAM. And we're just sending it without any protection. So therefore, you can't use HDMI with any content-protected source. That means a Blu-ray player, a satellite receiver HDMI, a cable box HDMI, any of those devices have content protection on the HDMI. Satellite receivers and cable boxes, by law, the FCC ruled a few years ago, must offer component. We do an MPEG-2, remember that high video quality MPEG-2 thing? We do an MPEG-2 conversion, and then we modulate it. So our video quality from component is superb. And I doubt most people could tell the difference between a pure HDMI input and our modulated, converted component input. And that's the way we get around this whole content protection thing. Now, the other thing about content protection, be very careful with Apple. All Apple product has HDCP content protection. So even if you take a video of your grandkids and you try to send it through a ZV box using HDMI, you're going to have a problem. All Apple product uses content protection. Now, you know as well as I do, there's workarounds. Google is your friend. If you have a situation where you're in a residence and they need to use digital modulation and they have a Blu-ray player, and you've got to use HDMI because, as you know, Blu-ray players do not offer component any longer. That was an agreement between the manufacturers and Hollywood to get rid of component because, as I just said, you can grab a really good signal off component and record it. They didn't want that to happen. So if you've got a residence and they've got a Blu-ray player and you've got coax, there are ways to work around that, and Google is your friend is all I can tell you when, if you run into that problem. Are we shipping these units? Yes, yes. Somebody just asked, are you shipping the 3000? We certainly are. Just shipped a whole number of head ends this week. And we've been shipping the product now for almost 4 weeks, I guess. So yes, it's available, it's shipping. Your distributor has it in stock, ready to go. Tell me more about MXE. I'm sorry about that. We just don't have enough time on these webinars. But very quickly, MXE is our new IP over video solution. And why it's unique is because it acts like our RF solution. And in a nutshell, I had a dealer in Ohio who had done a number of schools, K through 12 schools, using our RF product. And then he got called this summer about a new school they just built, and it's all wired with Cat5. And he called me up and said, what do I do? You know, I'm going to lose this sale. I said, no, you're not. We have a new product called MXE. It's an IP over cat wire that acts like coax. So it was very easy for him to integrate it. And what it is it's transmitters that go at the head end, and they're fed by satellite receivers or cable boxes or media players, PCs, whatever. They take HDMI in, and they output over cat cable to a decoder. The little decoder is called an MXE. And the MXE takes that signal and converts it back to HDMI and sends it to the TV. So we're HDMI from beginning to end. But what's really cool about the product is once you have everything set up, you go back into Maestro, you do a couple of clicks, and Maestro goes out and finds all of those decoders, those MXEs, and assigns them IP addresses and does all the configuration for you. And then once that's done, that little MXE acts like a TV tuner. It actually comes with a TV remote control. So now you just walk up to the TV and change channels just like you did on coax. So for a school system or a college dorm or any building that's wired with cat wire, but you want the same experience that they had with a coax solution, the MXE is superb. We will be doing more. We'll do a webinar on it, but if you need more information immediately, call me, send me an email. I'd love to talk to you about MXE. So that's it, Christine. I don't see any more questions coming through. I guess we did a good job. And unless you have anything to add,
I don't.
well, then good. We're going to bid you a good night or a good late afternoon if you're calling in from California. And once again, if you need anything, get in touch with me, Paul, and we'll help you out. Glad to do it. Thanks for taking the time out of your day and spending it with us. Thank you.
Thank you so much.